everyone. Welcum to another episode of Devs Like Us. Today we have a special guest that's near and dear to everyone's heart here. He was one of our friends in college. He was a networking guru. Now he's doing great things in cloud development. My name is Terrence.
I'm Clarence.
I'm JB.
And our special guest, everybody, drum roll. Hold on, Daryl. You introduce yourself here. We introduce you.
Do we hit the bell?
Daryl, to the show.
Thank you. Doing, good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on. You know, we DM'd you. We sent text messages, phone calls, pigeon mail.
Yep.
I did. Any and everything to get you here. We had to have you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to talk with us.
Oh, I'm busy.
We know you like, Mr.
Hey,
Important.
let's not JB know.
So we have so this is different. So interviewing somebody but we're still gonna try to keep it professional here. Husband, father, HBCU alumni. Is Norfolk State in the building? Is this Norfolk State?
I know, right? That's next.
And from when we last left off in education, you were big in the networking space. So how would you summarize your work now, Daryl? How's everything going?
So now I'm in the cloud space, in automation. I'm scripting. I'm everything in the cloud. We're trying to build servers in literally under 2 minutes, and then deploy it all in the same way. So from application in the old days, legacy days, it used to take weeks, months of planning. But now, once you push to the cloud, your app should be up and running within 2-3 minutes max.
Nice.
So yeah.
Sound like you wear a lot of hats.
It's yeah. it comes with the territory, I think. But yeah, you got to be a jack of all trades for sure.
All right, so Daryl, tell us about your educational experience and how is your educational experience, the project at school different from your experience on the job?
Got you. So where do I start? Oh my gosh. Well, it was all the way back when I was this little black kid with no head. Now I'm playing. I was Norfolk State did well by me. Norfolk State did well. As you all know, computer science growing up, and switched around within computer science a lot to try to find my niche, but always stayed true to computer science, and then ended up graduating undergrad with computer science degree, and then went straight into grad school with the emphasis in networking. And so that's when I really kind of, I guess, saw my potential, saw my passion in networking. And then being in the lab, figuring out stuff, tinkering, I was always hands-on with everything. Not much as a code as you guys. You guys, I tip my hats off to you, but I can definitely script something, do some damage and hacking and stuff like that. So that was definitely go-to now. In school, if it wasn't for that lab, I don't think I would have made it.
Follow up. So, how was the transition from academia to the workforce?
Gotcha. So it was. I want to say the lab that we had on campus had all the tools. It just scaled up when I went to corporate or went to the workforce. Right, it just scaled up from there. Because we had in the lab, we had a blade server, right? And when you went to a data center, or actual real data center, you had racks of just tons of blade servers, tons of storage and stuff like that. So it just scaled up from one to like thousands.
Right.
But the software was kind of still the same. The methodology was still the same, the practices and stuff like that. They were more advanced in automation and batch jobs, stuff like that. But pretty much the groundbreaking stuff, the foundation was still there as far as tapping into a server and stuff like that, remotely and stuff like that. So it didn't really change for me until I got to the cloud space. It was like, okay, throw out everything you learned from a legacy standpoint within a data center, because now it's all cloud focused. You don't need to do this, do that. Everything is scheduling a job or Ansible script or something like that. So that's when I had to really transition.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Terrence is our big Ansible guy. I'm surprised he didn't jump in with the next question.
Last episode he was excited. Like, yeah, I'm more of an Ansible guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's why I love Ansible. It was that that was that bridge point to where, okay, I kind of understand the syntax, and it kind of gave me that power to be able to do those things. So that's why I love Ansible. All right, JB.
Yeah. So, Daryl, with your transition, from academia to the workforce, what are some things that you wish you knew about that transition that that you just got there and you're just like, okay, this is not what I expected type of thing.
That's a good question.
Yeah, definitely. So going to the workforce, it was, I want to say, I found myself trying to doing too much, trying to fit in, trying to make sure I earned my paycheck, right? But when you came in, I'm the first. I'm still wet behind the ears because I'm fresh off of college and stuff like that. And all the other senior techs are like, oh, he don't know anything, this and that. So I'm trying to force myself on them. And so in a sense, if I had to do this all over again, I would just say, trust your foundation where you came from. Like, don't overthink or don't undermine yourself thinking that you don't know anything because you passed the test to be there, right? So you're there for a reason. Someone saw something in you. Someone saw something in you to bring you on board the team so you can be an asset to the team. So I would say trusting yourself, and don't let that steer you away. I mean, wherever you go, whether it's government, whether it's industry, it's going to be changes. It's going to be forever learning, stuff like that. And always keep that mentality of always learn. You're never going to stop learning. So that's what I would always.
Man, that imposter syndrome, it just keep popping up.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's true.
Darren, if I didn't know you personally, I would have thought you were watching our episodes because we have an episode on imposter syndrome. JB, what episode was that? JB's the one that always plugs the other episodes.
That's episode 3. Yeah.
Episode 3?
Oh, no.
But yeah, so Darren, how do you, when from day to day, is there anything that you do personally to make sure that you that you're where you belong, you're there for a reason? Is there anything special you do, mentors to keep you, I don't know, serve as a personal hype man, or is there any other things you do specially to make sure that, hey, I'm here for a reason, I'm not here by mistake?
Yep. So I realized, and this is probably a year ago, I realized that on my team today, I'm the same person that I was back in college. Back in college, I was in the classroom, but I was always helping someone else out in the classroom. Whether it was group assignments or whatever, I was always, if I learned something, I always passed it over and made sure somebody next to me got it as well. And I was always teaching that to the next person. And so here on my team, I'm the same way. And it's like, I'm trying to make sure the transparency amongst the team is solidified. Like, there should be nothing that another team member has that someone else doesn't get. Process-wise, engineering-wise, whatever it is. If you got something
on my team,
share it with the team. I mean, because it's going to be a sense like the team is only going to be great if you pass everything down. Like, we're not going to, if I'm lacking something, it's not going to help the team in any way if I'm lacking. And then my number gets called and I don't know a process. I don't know a situation. So it helps me help you if I know what you know and you know what I know, type of thing. So
that community aspect.
Exactly. See, no man left behind. And no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish it. I had to add on to that.
Oh, gotcha. Go ahead. I'm looking ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I know you mentioned team, but did you luck up where you had a good chemistry for your team?
I did. So I've been on, I want to say 3 or 4 different teams. My first team, kind of rocky. Not even going to sell that short. It was kind of rocky because I was trying to find myself, wasn't completely honest with myself or who I was. But second team, I definitely saw a lack in people just communicating, and I'm that butterfly personality. I'm like, listen, I know it's the job, but let's try to have fun. Let's try to meet in the middle somewhere. And then now it's like every team that I'm part of, I make sure we have that dynamic. I make sure that we have that this personal relationship to a certain point, but also have a team mentality. It's no I in team, stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's them
I
sports
like it. I like it.
coming into
Yeah, I was gonna
effect.
say.
And we
No
always do. We
basketball.
always like to see people's shirts and apparel swag here. Is that a reddish shirt you got there? Can we get that? Can we get?
Do you know about that? You know about that? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What do you got against SQL?
I know.
Nah, I like it. I like it. I like it. No. This is I've heard you talk about imposter syndrome. One of the last episode, one of the episodes when we did discuss imposter syndrome, we discussed like professionals have been in it 10, 20 years. They've written books and they're still struggling with that. So I don't think we ever said it. Are you okay with saying how many years you've been a professional?
Sure, yes. I don't consider myself a professional at all. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to make it. But
You're a
I like
professional, sir. I see how you live it.
I've been in the game now for I want to say 6 years. Yeah, I just had
Nice.
my 6 year anniversary back in June. So 6 years in the game. It's crazy because I'm still the new person on the team. Like I'm still the person that just came on. No one else has come on after me. I'm like, dang,
Wow.
did I mess something or did I close the door? Like that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But
A
No, you
6-year
just
rookie.
answered all the questions, and they're just like, you know what? We don't need anybody else. Daryl's it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So it's been 6 years in my line of work.
So you did tell us all of your range as far as a technical your technical skill set. Is there anything specifically that you're focused on now as far as like current technology, or just things that you think are most beneficial to you currently?
Gotcha. So in the technical space, I'm in AWS a lot. When I say AWS, everything about AWS I'm in also. Right now, focusing on Kubernetes technology, it's containers. And then also the next generation will be EKS, right? That's also an AWS plug word. Yeah, it's containers right now. I started off with Pivotal Cloud Foundry. That was probably 3-4 years ago. That's containers, that's Docker and stuff like that. And then I moved to Kubernetes, and then from Kubernetes, I'm moving to EKS. So containers is the way to go.
I like it. This is my follow-up question, then JB and Clarence can hit theirs. So you're family man, you're working full time. How do you create time to do that training and practices, that balance? How do you do it? Do you wake up early in the morning, once a week? How do you do that exploratory learning?
Y'all know I'm not an early person. I'm not an early person. Ain't nothing changed about that. Luckily, I have a partner that I love her dearly. She actually is my yin to my yang. So she's an early morning person. Yes, she's an early morning person. So she takes care of all that and stuff like that. Afternoon, there's sometimes I have to tap in that overtime clock, but for the most part, afternoon, I make sure I'm here and make sure I'm around, stuff like that. As you all know, I got 2. I got 1 on the way. And
Congratulations.
so appreciate it.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know you had that little boy.
Right here on our episode.
Right here, breaking news.
Yep. Breaking news, exactly. And so they right there, they always keep you energized. You got to have energy for them. This is nonstop. So they're definitely work-life balance. But 9 to 5 is work. And I turn off and I'm available for the family. I try to be. So I haven't played ball like that because family comes first. I'm a ball player, but I still live through JB with that.
So with you, you have your work-life balance going on, but what type of technical skills are you using while you're at work during your 9 to 5? You said you kind of spoke on the automation and the scripting, but can you give slight specifics in that space?
Yeah, sure. So right now, it's crazy because I just wrote some automation batch scripting actually with some Ansible as well. But right now, we're building out automation without saying too much detail. Automation around a process, and it's like an ordering process, right? And you need to always have batch jobs running to clean out a particular database because when you're dealing with millions and millions of different people hitting your database, you're gonna have to do some maintenance on it. So think of like a batch job, like a cron job, whatever the process might be. You can write a script for it, do what you need to do, and it hits whenever you schedule the cron job to hit. We use a lot of CI/CD pipelines as well, like Jenkins and GitLab to run our code off of as well. There's some similarities between Ansible and those CI/CD pipelines, but for the app, more so on the dev side, we use GitLab and Jenkins to deploy our code and stuff like that. But outside of my work, I have a real passion for finances. And just recently,
Preach, sir. Go ahead.
Let us know.
Just recently, my job, they actually are putting me in charge of a budget for our particular org, not team, but org. I'm like, where did this come from? But
I thought you were talking about
big man
household
on
budgets.
campus.
You're talking about.
I'm talking about money.
Big budgets.
money. Not no funny money. And so with that being said, budget and containers, it's like they want to make sure that we have enough automation so that we can scale up and scale out, but not bust our budget in the sense. So that two goes hand in hand. We need to decrease when we don't have much traffic, but also scale up. And then we have to make sure we scale up within our budget and don't kind of balloon our budget for that particular month. So when they gave me the keys to the budget, I was like, "Whew, okay, let's go." So I'm going through, and I'm like the governance team now. I'm like doing a lot of auditing, and some app developers don't like me because I'm cranking down on why is this running now? You're not even using it. No, turn it off, type of thing. And so I have automation going out there that checks that, and kudos to Ansible for that, and constantly checking that and turning stuff off. So budget plus containers hand in hand. That's my day-to-day task right now.
So Daryl, that to me that brings up a good point. To those who are in college or those who are newly hired or even those who are experienced in the workforce, what's your message to those who say, "Hey, that's not what I went to school for"? Like, because the budget thing, it's in the wheelhouse, but it's not something that you're learning in school. But you're literally, in my opinion, you're adding value to the company, and you're adding another asset. Like that's additional skill set that you have that makes it that makes you that much more of a resource for your company. Yeah. Because there's a lot of times when we've even discussed when developers, if you're a great developer, a lot of times you're not hands on keyboard as much as you normally would be, because you'll end up running a team and you'll be managing more at a higher level. Mm-hmm. So what do you have any special advice or announcement for those who feel like, oh, that's not in my wheelhouse specifically, but at the end of the day, we all are working for businesses, otherwise we wouldn't have a job, right?
Exactly.
Like, do you have anything specific to say to folks to kind of help frame like that, the fact that you're not only doing all that technical stuff, and it's still technical. Yeah. There's still a technical piece there, but there's that money piece, which we've said before. A lot of times that hits developers like, oh, this is a business. Like, this is a business. Right. Oh, yeah, exactly, I can't implement this cool. I can't implement this cool feature because it doesn't. The return on investment. Like, when I heard ROI,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, ROI has to be.
That's something that you won't hear in your computer science classes, but it's there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's. Once you get on a job, for those coming straight out of school and you're not actually doing what you did in school, don't take that as an L. Like, I would make sure you can try to do anything you can to help the team that you're on. That should be your main focus. Try to provide value in any way, shape, or form, whether it's coming from your normal channels or coming from something that you totally have to just revamp yourself and learn. Some teams don't have a simple just calendar. Their calendar is all messed up, right? It's not organized. You can use that as an advantage of organizing the calendar, getting the team organized, stuff like that. Okay, that's a step in the door. Just helping the team, right? Morale.
Find problems, make solutions. Daryl just said it. I like it.
And so it's just don't. I understand you went to school. You might have spent 30. What's the going right now for a degree? 35, 40. It might have been back in the day.
Might be more than that.
It might be more
I
than
think
that.
it's
It
more than
probably
that,
is.
though.
Double.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So we're not gonna touch that. But yeah, so you went to school for a degree, you spent 80 grand on it, and then you get to your particular job or whatever, and they got you just pushing papers. Yeah, that might be like a slap in the face, but try to be positive with it. Um, Look at it from a different light, and 'cause at the end of the day, you got to somehow keep that job so you can pay back whatever you need to pay back, right? And I don't want to go back. That's another episode, another day. But um, find a way to help the team.
Daryl just said he's coming back for another episode.
Find a way to help your team. Find a way to help your team. If it's not doing what you did in school, it has to be another way. Businesses nowadays, they want to make sure their ROI is met before anything. That's what their real goal is. So you just want to make sure you can provide value in any way, shape, or form. Even if it's just sweeping the floors, I'll sweep the floors, but I'll do it for 60, 70, 80K a year. Hey, I'll sweep the floors, whatever. It is what it is. But
Cleanest swept floors ever.
I think that was a good point, for sure, where you say, no matter what it is, take it for what it is, learn as much as you can, because you just never know. Even if it's really simple, it could be something that it could be a concept that you gather in that position that you'll use for positions to follow.
Yep.
And, it's just hitting gems.
Exactly. It's like my first year at my job, I was doing decoms. And I'm like, decoms? Like, what the heck? Like, I don't want to do that. I didn't go to school. I have a master's degree to do decoms.
Right.
I mean, I could do that in my sleep, but that was my first year. And so,
can you explain that for the people, Daryl, what that is?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So, decoms is pretty much turning down the server, backing up with whatever's on the server. There's a process of powering down the server. When a server becomes end of life, meaning the server is old and you don't need it, the application team doesn't need it anymore, you need to scrub it. So the disk needs to be scrubbed. The data that was on the disk needs to be backed up, put it in a tape somewhere or whatever, so that you have whatever, depending on the company policy. Back that data up, and then you scrub the disk, and then turn the server off. Now, all in that process will take a week, depending on the company's policy. A backup, you'll take a backup in 1 day, and then you'll turn the server off for 3 days. If no one screams, then you're able to move forward and actually scrub the server and mark it decommed. Decom meaning it's clean and you can ship it back to the manufacturer. The big people, big companies, they don't necessarily buy equipment. I mean, they buy equipment, but they kind of lease them. They don't really buy them to own them. They lease them and then they return them back. So a particular server has a lifespan of, I want to say, 3 or 4 years, sometimes less than that, depending on the data center and what the data center is doing. But once the server comes end of life, you decom it and then send it back and then repeat that process. I think you have, 8, if you have a dozen servers across the country, a dozen data centers across the country with about 5,000 servers in each, that's a lot of decoms. So you got to keep track of that. So
right.
That's on the smaller scale of things. But yeah, that's what a decom
So with
process.
you saying that, when you first started, you were in the decoms and things like that, you really weren't feeling it.
Exactly.
Did you have that mentor to be there? Like, look, I understand that, it's not great now, but, we're building towards something greater. Did you have that person in your corner, or was that just you telling yourself?
No, I did.
Going through?
I did. Actually, my mentors, I was still holding on to some of our professors back at school, right? Because I got into the workforce and that's all I knew. And so they were like, come on, you got to humble yourself and just go out there and use the personality that you have. Just don't sit behind a desk and do your job, right? Go out and network. And so that's when that elevator speech came in, and learning how to, me, it was always, it's funny, I'm going to laugh, but I always used to talk about the weather because I had nothing else to talk about.
Nice.
So, I don't know, it's a nice day today, right?
Real nice outside.
Are you sure it was accurate weather or just anything that popped up?
Right. You're like, it's real nice outside and it's pouring down raining.
Exactly. But that was my thing. And then so with me going out and actually, I guess, making connections and having that dialogue, I began to grow with the people around me and also the culture and stuff like that. So It was definitely, I grew to have, I think I had, after my first year, I had 2 mentors that was on the same floor as me, and they weren't even on my team because I only had one person that was on my team within the state that I was in. And so it was, 2 mentors after 6 months, and then I began to click with that, and then that's how I came out of the decom space because they were like, "Hey, how about this job? How about that job?" And so I would have never knew about the cloud space had it not been for the mentors that I had, and I would never knew about the mentors if I didn't leave my desk and actually went around and started talking to people and about the weather. So it worked.
That networking mentoring, it's one of those key pieces of that community development, and
Exactly.
it really helps tap into your elevation because, like you said, you would have never known about those positions if your mentor's like, "Hey, have you ever thought about such and such?" And you look into it, and it's like, "Okay, I think I can do this," type of thing. And so, yeah,
exactly. So that definitely came in and helped a lot. And still today, I still keep in contact with some of my mentors at back in school at Norfolk State. So it's good because, like I said, I'm still a baby in the game. It's only 6 years. I got a lifetime to go, right?
Yeah,
right. So we talked about the networking piece and mentors. What is, and this can be anybody because I want to put Daryl on the spot because we didn't even send Daryl this question, but you might have a good one. What is the biggest benefit you've seen from someone received from their mentor or from networking, like opportunities, or just has anybody seen people really benefit from being out there networking and having a mentor?
Definitely.
I'll go
first. Go ahead.
I've seen people get 30K plus like 30, 40K plus increase in pay just off of who they've known alone, and the fact that they know what they're doing. So, and this is another thing we've discussed before with that networking piece. Don't even if you're an introvert, find your ways to go out there and talk to people. And because there's some people they have all these opportunities, they just don't know who's a good fit for them. But then when you put it right in their face,
start talking about the weather. Start talking about the weather. But go ahead, JB.
Yeah, I've had opportunities where, for me personally, I've been in situations where I'll be working with someone and they're like, "You know what, you're actually pretty good at what you're doing," and things like that. And then they will say, "Have you?" This is not even a mentor; it's just somebody I'm just working with on an off chance, and it's like, "How about you? Talk to this person, or go to this camp, or attend this event." And in attending those events, that then boosted me in the space of having those conversations with people at that event. And they're like, "All right, I think you'll be a good fit for this." And it's like, I wasn't even looking for it, but it just kind of, falls in your lap. And you're just like, "Okay, I see you." Things are, really working out. And so that's how it's been for me.
That's good. So I have a similar situation. This was back when we were going to conferences. I don't know if y'all remember this. NESB.
Yes,
we
sir.
were going to NESB conferences, and so we used to go to that. And then so it was like the day before the last day, the big conference. We have to go out and run the floor and try to get jobs and stuff like that, and interviews. I didn't have this particular job. This particular company rather, was looking for a certain person with the DBA background. I had no experience, like database or anything like that. But he wanted me to interview just off the strength of me talking to him. And I mean, he was a talker but no one else wanted to talk that long for him. So we sat and talked for like 45 minutes. And I don't know about what, we just talking and vibing. And next thing you know, I'm in an interview and I was talking. Next thing I know, I'm in an interview with him and with his panel. And I didn't have the experience. I didn't have what they were looking for, but somehow I was extended the offer. I was like, how? And so so stuff like that. It's just network and just be yourself and just don't try to fit in, but just be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And so companies are going to looking for the expertise, but they also look for morale. They're looking for character. They look for all those other things that makes a good team. So.
Very true.
Those soft skills you're referring to, Daryl?
Yes.
episode JB, what episode was that?
So was that 2?
2, I think it was.
Look, that's our archive over there, man. She got it all. Go ahead, Clarence. Did you have anything?
No, I think those are good points. I don't know how you can top any of that. I guess. I mean, so I guess like for me, I know I don't have any direct mentors, mostly indirect mentors, people who have, come up on the spot and say, I don't know if this is the position that you expected, but, I'm making you my mentor. And, whether they go through it or not, I kind of fall on their expertise to kind of, or at least I should say their life experience to kind of help as far as like, kind of pave a way, or at least kind of make sense of, what all is going on in the career field itself. And just kind of getting a better understanding. I guess I did have one question, Daryl. So, like, I know you say you go talk to folks about the weather, but how many people didn't want to talk about the weather and just kind of blew you off before you got to that, somebody who was warm enough to say, oh, yeah, good thing I brought my umbrella,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't got quite a nose. It's also I want to say the demographic and the culture. So being in the company that I am, where we came from, Norfolk State, everyone looked like us, right? And so going to the workforce, it's a whole different thing, right? And so it's like I couldn't just walk up to you and Clarence. I couldn't just walk up to you talk about basketball or Terrence football or JB basketball. Right? That wasn't the same feeling that I got in the workforce. So you had to come up with different things. So I learned a lot about playing. Oh my gosh, what is that sport? Cricket. It's a lot of like
I was about to cricket, racquetball.
Cricket.
Yeah, I was gonna say racquetball.
And so cricket is another big thing here in Tampa. It's mostly because of demographic, right? And so a lot of people love cricket. And so I'm like, dang. So that and another thing, hockey is real big here. So I learned about hockey even more. And so just having that starter pitch of something that you can gravitate to, start the conversation, and then see where it goes from there. That's pretty much.
Daryl.
Yeah.
I like that advice, and I've even been told sometimes it's almost like, "Oh man, you're selling out and changing." No, I'm trying to communicate with people, and if that's the way that you can communicate and connect with someone, do it. Like that's it's just broadening. Like we've never been closed-minded people. We've never been taught to be closed-minded people.
Exactly.
We're okay with being exposed to new things. So if anybody that hears what Daryl just said and thinks, "Oh no, he's changing," nah, you want to be able to be exposed to different experience and things, and you might like some of the things now that you never would have thought. So that's one thing that even from a diversity standpoint, it's okay to be exposed to new things, and especially if you want to connect with people. Sometimes that's the best way of doing it.
Mm-hmm. And our school tried, right? They tried to expose us to other things with us going outside and stuff like that. But
sure, they did for sure.
Yeah, they did. But
so Clarence, I missed that. Play on the ice.
See, I knew that was coming. Ice. I'm gonna hit you with the cool running, the cool ice. Oh man.
Nah, but I think that was a good point because again, just to add on to that, it's like you never know. You might end up liking something like that, and it could be something that really drives your day to day, or at least just the flame that you need to kind of do better at your job, and that's being able to connect with your peers, your community, as a whole.
Exactly. And so I found myself with this one guy. Of course, he's Indian, but he was like it's funny, y'all know, but everyone else won't. But we had a friend back in school by the name of Mike, and he was a diehard coder, right? Y'all know who I'm talking about. But This particular guy that I worked with, he reminded me of Mike because he was a whiz when it comes to coding any language. This guy was a whiz, and so, but he liked cricket, and so I used to always talk about him on the scores and stuff like that. And then me and him got like this, and so. When it comes to, he was coming to work but didn't really talk to anybody. Now all of a sudden that changed for him. He was always talking to me, and that's how I got on to the cloud team, because we were just real close and tight. And so some of the things that I learned from him, he learned some stuff from me, and then this would just grow like that. So that would have never happened if I would have never kind of had that, I guess, what do you want to call it? That
like exposure.
Y'all see what he just did there?
Yeah, taking that jump, exactly.
He just answered my question. 20 minutes later, he answered it again. He answered my. Yeah, somehow. What was it? The benefits of a mentor and networking. What are the benefits? He just answered that again.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all coming full circle, man. It's all coming full circle.
We need those flames in here, like we
He
have.
wanted to make sure you didn't forget.
He answered it twice. I love it. I love it. No, but
shout out to Mike.
Yes.
So,
all right. Oh, go ahead, Clarence.
I was gonna say I have another question. So, like, since you've been in the workforce, so I know you talk about kind of making your own way of networking with folks, or reaching out to peers that you probably wouldn't normally interact with. But from a actual community standpoint, like, how hard or how easy has it been to find like technical communities outside of work?
Oh yeah, so it's been hard for me, only in the sense of me trying to balance life outside of work. And I'm talking about family, right? I can't really go to all the happy hours and just mingle and stuff like that with professionals, young professionals, stuff like that. I mean, I have a responsibility, but they do have certain circles, and I am on Meetup, where you do have different circles of young professionals that meet up all the time. And so I try to make it at least once a quarter to one of those, just to stay vigilant and just try to be connected. But for me, it's just a matter of like the timing. And right now, like I said, got two right now, one on the way, one in the oven, and just family. Family comes first before anything. So anything that I do learn, and if I try to grasp, it's always like online with the reading and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
With your readings and things, what topics are you, reading up on now as you go through?
So I'm big on a lot of podcasts. I want to see what the industry is doing when it comes to cloud space and containers, stuff like that. So I follow a couple podcasts.
The first one being Devs Like Us.
There you go.
I was gonna say,
Nice little plug.
To marketing. Sorry.
He's throwing ads. He's throwing ads in our episode with other podcasts.
There you go. And so, but JB said reading, but that's what I listen, but I read. That's what it is for me.
Gotcha.
And so, dang, now I forgot the name of. It's Devs Like Us, and then it's another one that's really big. I forgot.
Like there's so many ones. Red Hat has some good ones. The Python
Red Hat
has some good ones.
Yep. But I'm always on podcasts to try to just listen and to see what other developers, other engineers, cloud engineers are doing that's new. And then I'm also different Slack channels that I kind of have under my belt that I always check and stuff like that. So just always try to be, I guess, accepting to different streams of different things. So Slack is real big on different topics that you can dive into, whether it's automation, whether it's cloud computing, whether it's coding, see whatever it is that you're looking for. You can tap into that or just look up different podcasts. So I can't remember the name. Oh my gosh, it's going to come back to me.
It's going to bother you now.
Help you think. Was it a specific topic that they always cover, like an area study?
No, it was cloud computing, right? Okay. Cloud computing / automation.
Daryl, a lot of times we hit roadblocks in those college projects, and we do the project, but we don't get 100 on the lab because we missed some features here and there. In the industry, it's like, no, the customer asked for this. This is what they want. Do you have a specific process when you haven't figured out a way to automate a piece or a deployment, or if there's a bug somewhere and it's like, hey, you've been spending some hours implementing it. Is there any way that, or any process you go or formula you have to work through those blockers?
Yeah. So luckily I have a great manager that kind of uses me as like a punching bag. I throw something at him to see if it sticks is what he's asked. Because a manager, it's kind of crazy because when a manager asks for something from a developer, from an engineering standpoint, they don't really know what they're asking for, and then I will make it and then give it to him. It's like, no, that's not what I was looking for. Well, that's what you said. So when I build something out, but luckily I have that dialogue with my manager so that I can go back and forth until we reach the finished product. Now, the process for going from A to Z, I have different engineers on my team that have different specialties and stuff like that. So I'm able to tap into them a lot, and I actually use them. Those are my resources I use for when I'm building something or automating something out. I make sure it gets through them first before I even hand it to my manager. Because if I just do something myself, that's just coming from my perspective, and then I hand it over to finished product, and then it's going to get shot down. So I make sure I get everyone's input from my team, and then I shoot it over. But in college, it was a lot different. That's something that I learned in the industry. In college, it was a lot different. Because trust me, I wasn't the brightest flashlight in college. I came from rock bottom.
That's that imposter syndrome.
I came from rock bottom. I got stories for that.
Started from the bottom, now you're here.
Say it again. Isn't that true? Amen.
Well, I guess
All right,
that's a good follow up question. So we had it listed, but at your current stage, you just mentioned that you feel like you've learned a lot more. Is everything going as expected? Has it over exceeded what you expected by now? Like where you are currently?
So I'm definitely over exceeded. I definitely didn't see myself here in this fashion in the workforce or even outside the workforce because in college I was just. I want to say, for lack of better terms, I was just loafing, just being there. I mean, yeah, we had each other and was getting through school, but school didn't really have a purpose for me because I was in school, but I was also working like 3 or 4 jobs at the time. And then also being a college kid. So I was a part-time college kid, part-time going to 3 or 4 different jobs, and then part-time going to school. And so school wasn't the top of the list at the time. Undergrad wasn't.
There, I didn't know you was working all them jobs.
What?
This was before grad school or in grad school?
Before grad school.
Did you slow down in grad school with the other jobs?
I quit one. I quit one job.
I had like 2.
Yeah, grad school.
He was always going places. I'm like, hey, what's up there? All right, I'm gone. I had no idea.
Yeah, undergrad, the most jobs I had one time, most checks I had coming in was 5 checks at one time. And
nice.
That wasn't even counting a refund check if I had one coming. That was just, so it was this was the motivation behind that was I had to pay for school, right? So I wouldn't be able to go to class if I didn't have a way to pay for it. So I felt like me working was more important than actually being in class at one point. And so that actually took a toll on my academics because there was one semester that I had to go to. I forget the name of the building. What's the building across from 7-Eleven? The finance building. It's the old one.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
The old
That's Wilson. Yeah.
So
student services.
There you go. I was in there for about 3 to 4 hours one day. They brought me in there because I was put on academic probation because of having a GPA of 1.7. When I say I came from the bottom, I came from the bottom, 1.7. And so I had to climb out of that. And that was the hardest thing to even overcome. End up graduating with a 3.1.
Sweet.
That was hard. That was hard. It wasn't.
What's that Rihanna song? Work.
Yes. But I had to pay for that. It took an extra year. I had to pay for that. So,
that and end up getting a master's.
And also that too. And so I didn't get the master. I didn't get accepted into the master program without me just being around, without me actually networking with the professors and having the likeness. Because it won't my grades. It won't. That got me. That's how I feel.
Right.
But definitely network with professors and seeing that I put in the work in the classroom. And then in grad school, that's when I found my true passion for networking and being in the lab. I did kind of, with them paying for it, that was a blessing, right? So I was able to quit some jobs and then focus more on academics, right? So I didn't have to have worry about that paying that bill at the end of the month. But it was a blessing when I got that, and I saw my true worth and my true passion, and then I was able to kick it up a notch. That's what got me this job that I'm at now. Still going 6 years later.
Nice.
Don't let that stop you though. If you just because grades ain't clicking, trust me. I done been there, and when I think I want to say, and this is probably embarrassing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways because it's a part of my story. I took biology.
Ashamed of your story.
I took biology 3 times. 3 times. And my wife now, she was the one who took it on the 3rd try with me. And she
Oh,
said
wow.
it. And that's another story. But she took it on the 3rd try, just taking it. She was just smart anyways. Any book you put in front of her, she was smart. But she took it just to take it with me. But yeah, took biology 3 times. So it wasn't easy, but I never gave up either.
That's love.
So.
I'm not stepping in that biology room if I don't have to for too many folks.
Exactly.
I felt that way about physics.
Yeah.
Oh, physics, yes.
Oh man, well it was tough. It was tough, but yeah, don't give up. If I say anything, don't give up. Keep going.
All
But
right.
one thing I
Any
will
other?
say
Oh, go ahead, JB.
that you kind of spoke on was the fact of, your interactions with the professors is, what helped you get into grad school.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's one thing I will give Norfolk State credit for, like interactions with professors and them actually caring about your progress and things like that. Like they're sitting there talking with you, like, what's going on? How can I help you? That type of thing. And that really helped a lot of us through things. Our stories may not be the same as yours, but there are moments where it's like, look, I see something's happening. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do to make it better.
Yep.
And
Life
so,
happens. That
Yeah,
life is real.
It was real. It was real. We wasn't just a number. Because had I been to a school where I was just a number, oh no, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it.
Having that support, outside of your family and your friends is very important.
Yeah.
And, when you have that support from the people who, are trying to help build you and guide you as you go through your career development is second to none.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Just
how many
put that little plug in there.
how many professors would you know that would text you, "Hey, we got food in the conference room. Are you hungry?" Like I would get that text on a regular. I was like, "Yes, thank you. I don't have to pay for food today." So that was love.
Yeah.
That was love. That's the kind of it was like family. That's what it was. That's what I like. I appreciate that.
And,
Right.
since you like to pass along your knowledge from, what you learn and things like that, what would you say to that high schooler that's out there that, is thinking about this career field, or that person who's thinking about a career change into the technical space? What kind of, advice would you give them for that?
So it's not easy. I don't want to think like, oh, I can do this. And it's not easy. You definitely gonna have to put in the work. Anything worth having, you're gonna have to put in the work. But just believe in yourself. Coming from high school, I know you probably want to think about what do I want to do that kind of makes money. That's probably your motivating factor. Well, for me, motivating factor. So it was like, what profession makes money? Doctors, lawyers, scientists, engineers, right? And so I wasn't good at math, but I was willing to put in the work. I wasn't good in science. I was willing to put in the work. And so I had a small mustard seed of passion for computers, right? And that's what it took for me just to step into a computer science realm. It was intimidating at first when I saw the curriculum, when I saw the what it was going to take for me to get a computer science degree. It was definitely intimidating, but don't think that you're walking through that alone. You still have that, I want to say that village. Find that village at whatever school you're at and get through it together. Because if I didn't have y'all, trust me, there wouldn't be Daryl down here trying to do what he do. But nah, trust me, it was definitely a village that
We were leaning on each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You helped me with networking. I helped you with programming. It worked out.
Oh my God.
All right, Daryl, we really appreciate it dropping all the knowledge for our listeners here. Before you leave, any parting advice or any big announcement you want to make for folks out there who are looking to either go to school for a technical field or looking to enter the workforce or in the workforce today?
I would say come to the computer science world. automation is the future. And when it's automating, I mean, they're trying to send people to Mars. Like they're trying to send people to Mars. You don't get there without engineers, programmers, physicians, scientists. Like so, I would say if you're listening to this and you're looking to go into college, whether it's next year or in the springtime, whatever, try to get into a science. That's definitely key to our future, stuff like that. But I appreciate y'all for having me. It's been real.
We appreciate you for taking the time out to be here.
Oh yes, of course.
We're gonna do an update, in a few.
Or deep dive in one of those technologies that you talked about. Deep dive, we're gonna have them do a screencast.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Teach us some things.
For sure.
Out here with the reddish shirt, you gotta show us some demos.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode. Once again, if you're listening to this, you belong here. You're supposed to be listening to this. We appreciate it. You are the best resource and you are the best part of this community. Thank you. My name is Terrence.
I'm Clarence.
I'm JB.
Go ahead, Daryl. Say it.
And I'm Daryl.
All right, we out.
Later.